Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Chatting with Asta. This series is my way of reaching out to different people in my life, of all different types, artists, filmmakers, etc. And I look to them as both inspirational and informational resources. If you're enjoying this series, especially this episode, don't forget to thumbs up, comment, subscribe, share, and hit shuffle on the playlist because there's plenty of other people that you can listen to that are really awesome. Today, I'm excited to be joined by Garreth Gibson of Gibson Graphics. You may know his work and not even realize it, but he actually designed the logo and imaging for this channel, this series. So yeah, welcome to the show, Garreth.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. I'm so happy to see you and hear you because we've been emailing back and forth for weeks and in fact, kind of like inadvertently for years because you were involved in a project that my husband was in that I helped produce called They Never Left.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
well, I joked with him. I've actually drawn him twice. Yeah, because I did a poster for Banjo as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I joked that I've actually I think he's like the only actor of like 2 projects that I've actually like drawn. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're very talented and. Everyone, I'll make sure to link your Etsy store, which you sell, and you also do commissions, obviously. But how did you get into this whole world of just making poster art, making horror art?
It's been sort of like probably for about 2-3 years now. I've been doing it like for fun,
Yeah.
I've been drawing pretty much since I was in like primary school, sort of like 5 years old.
Yeah.
Went to college, did graphic design. I'm actually a professional graphic designer, like that's my full-time job.
Yeah.
Like commissions and the horror stuff's like freelance. But I've been doing that for a good few years now, and that kind of really started just from going to conventions, selling artwork,
Yeah.
just meeting people, just kind of doing a bit of networking and things like that. And yeah, like doing things like Banjo as well and like things like that. You just once you've done you've got a couple under your belt, it's just kind of a knock-on thing and a little bit of hounding people on social media as well, trying to get your foot into the door. Yeah, it's led to me like doing some like official commissions for like movies that I've loved since I was a kid. Which has been great. Like I've done some trauma movies recently, like films like Basket Case, Return of the Living Dead. Like I did a Halloween one a couple of years ago for the 40th anniversary, which was just like a very big deal as well. And yeah, it's just been kind of a knock-on effect really. Once you've done a couple, it's just that's just kind of how it started really. Yeah, it took me a little while to sort of get the confidence to get myself out there.
Mm.
But then once I did, I was kind of glad that, once you do it, I was just like, I should have done this ages ago. So
You have I think you have the skill, you have like the actual ability to make a drawing, but you also like have such an understanding for the symbols and the iconography of all these major series. And like, I really adore, you have like multiple different, like, I don't know, styles or aesthetics within like your brand. Like you do like, I don't know what the technical terms are. So tell me, but like you do ones where it's like kind of like a block cartoon heads of like different slasher, like related killers. Everyone from Michael Myers to Texas Leatherface. You also do like these more romantic retro, but like blurred out, just like cinematic posters, which are great. And then the other style that I love is you do like these mashups. Like you do like you did one that was Sleeping with the Enemy meets like Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah,
so
that was really fun commission. Yeah,
those are so fun to like the way that you know how to like pick the important thing that someone will react to, and then you roll off.
Yeah, that one was a really fun one actually. Yeah, I can't take full credit for the idea for that one. That was actually like the art direction, but yeah, that was a fun one. Yeah, I'd like to do sort of more mashups really. But as I say, it's just once you start doing commissions, it's kind of hard to sometimes get to do stuff for fun, which is why the lockdown's been kind of a bit of a benefit for me as well, because I've got to actually do some stuff for fun. Like, I felt like I've not been had a chance to do that for about 5 or 6 years now. So, like the cartoon heads that you mentioned and yeah, just actually kind of just drawing for fun again. It's been really cool. Yeah.
And you, and obviously I'm biased, but I loved the work that you did on the logo design. I was like, so my jaw dropped because I sent you all of this like mood board ideas. So the things I sent to you were like how I wanted to lean into this idea of what people were telling me their first impressions were, which was like this like hippie school, or like this like, like, hey guys, let's talk. And so I started looking up images, and in making the logo, I started to reassess like why I was doing this. Yeah. And then you sent me back these images and like font ideas, and I was like, yeah. And it was so quick. You were so like polished about it that I almost like questioned like, why do I like these so quickly? Like, I feel like am I being swindled, Clay? But he was like, no, these are really good. Like, and I sent out first impressions to people, and everyone was like, yep, that feels like Asta. That feels like,
yeah. Well, it was really, I mean, like, I really appreciated the reference material. It saves so much time. Like, we probably would have got to that point anyway, but it might have just been a little bit more back and forth. But with you sending the out, but like straight away, it was like a clear idea of what you wanted, like even colors and things like that. Like, so yeah, I think that's just kind of why the whole process went really smoothly. To be honest, it was like, I think to be honest as well, like the idea that we went with was pretty much the first one I did, but I feel like I had to sort of maybe throw some more ideas just to make it, because it does happen sometimes, especially when I do some graphic design logos. Like, it's always like the first idea looks kind of the one that I want to go with, but I feel like I should really maybe experiment a little bit more. But that was it. Yeah, pretty much exactly the first one that I sent you was the one that we kind of went ahead with. So.
But that's what's so great. What was like just the act of like hiring you to do a logo made me think about what I wanted this and what my like, and anybody else who's like creating their work, like hiring a graphic designer, hiring an artist, it makes you reassess like what it is that you're making, and then you really like lean into it in a deeper way, because you realize like, I want my art to match this awesome marketing. And I think that you're honing that craft. And I mean, it inspired me right back. And so like, thank you so much. And also like your love of horror and my love of horror. Like, I adore your shirt, by the way. Is that one of your designs?
No, this is just one from Fright Ride. Because I always feel kind of awkward wearing my own designs. I don't know why. Like, I like having them. Like, I get them sent to me. But unless I'm at conventions where I'm kind of like already selling my stuff, I don't know. I feel really strange. Like, I've done it before, and then people ask me about it, and then I feel I'm really not that great at like kind of talking myself up with stuff like that. So,
Garrett, you're awesome, and that's why you're on the show, and that's why we're talking. but I love Scream. It's like, I think that's how I knew that I was going to marry Clay, was when we were like, what do we want to do? What do you want to dress up for Halloween? And he was like, I think it'd be cool if you'd be Sydney and I could be Billy. And I was like,
that's cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's kind of this movie that like I'm always shocked when people say they don't love it. And like a weird thing, but like it's such a beautiful meta exploration of like why we love horror, why we examine it. What are some of your other favorite like horror classics? What are some Gareth classics?
Okay, well, my go-to is Reanimator.
Wow. Yeah.
Reanimator. Probably. I have sort of grades as well, sort of like with more classic, or if I go for sort of trash B movie, like, so there's I mean, I'm a massive Trauma fan of B movies. I love Basket Case, Brain Dead. Peter Jackson's Brain Dead was one of my favorites as well. I tend to lean towards the more silly, over the top sort of horror. But I still love like a lot of classic horror as well. Nightmare on Elm Street, as far as slashers go. But yeah, Scream. I love The Faculty as well, like that, because that's my type of my era. That's the thing with Scream. I think that's like it's probably the first classic that I was there for. Like I wasn't old enough. I was still too young to go and see it in the theater at the time, but yeah, I feel like I remember it coming out. I remember the absolute buzz about it and stuff. So that's why I kind of hold it quite dear to my heart as well. So I don't know if that's the same, maybe the same for you as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. I grew up with it. I remember just it being like this, just the concept of a like the horror movie within the horror movie, kind of like that.
But it got me into a lot of horror, like because of all the references that was in it. It made me seek out a lot of those films as well. So
yeah, or like going to Blockbuster and being like, what do you think they watched? Like,
yeah,
what would Randy pick? You know, like
exactly. Like, I mean, just even like Prom Night and Hellraiser and things like that. Like, I mean, it made me sort of see. I think I might have already seen Hellraiser at that point, but that's a favorite of mine as well. The like well, because Clive Barker actually is from Liverpool, where I live, so that's and Doug Bradley as well. So yeah, so that's kind of got a bit of a place in my heart as well. Yeah, so I think that's got where my love of horror came from, was kind of seeking out a lot of those films that were referenced in it. So yeah, I'm trying to think if there's any more. Evil Dead 2, obviously, all the Evil Dead films. So there's just, I could go on. You could see behind me. There's obviously, I've got there's a lot that I like. So
I finally saw Phantasm 2 recently for the first time, and I'm like, can't believe
my actual favorite. That's my favorite of the series, actually.
It's a great one. It's a really great one. I hadn't like seen it, and I actually hadn't seen like actively, because I feel like Phantasm is one of those movies that people in college and high school and stuff, they'll like play it and it'll just be on, and you'll like be, I don't know, smoking a joint, and like you're not really watching it. So it wasn't until Joe Bob showed it on the last drive-in during that one Christmas marathon that Clay and I had watched one. I think it was like one, everything but two. But then we were like, okay, well, we have to rent two, so we watched that recently, and it's a really fun one. It's like
I think it's the best in the series. I mean, like the first one's a classic, but it's a bit of a mess. It's very low budget and at the time, but I like it when some of the franchises, when they change the tone a little bit, and it kind of diverts. And that one just went into a really fun kind of tone, I think. So I really like that one. It just kind of got quite silly in parts, and I think that's why I kind of lean a little bit more towards that one.
But that's, I mean, because what you do as an artist, you're like, you have such a love for these films, and you're examining them, and you're like watching like what things stand out. And I know that I have a lot of friends over the years, especially because of my involvement with Trauma. Like I've just met so many different poster artists, and it's just really cool to see like how each one of you that creates like fan-based art or reference art, like holds on to one symbol, holds on to like one, like the Class of Newcomb High one that you made, like you have that like, you have the cartoon head of Robert Pritchard's character, which I love, the 1986, and then you have another one that's just the, I can't remember his name, with the glasses and like the green goo coming out.
Yeah, Dewey. Well, I think he's called Dewey in the film. But
Dewey. Yeah, I'm acting like those assholes that are like in Star Wars movies, but they act like they don't know who Han Solo is. Like that's. I should know who Dewey is. I mean. Yeah, but it's really fun. I mean, and it's, I don't know, like when art like that gets made of stuff that you're even like peripherally related to, it's just like, it's really cool, and it's. And I just, I love movies. I'm such a nerd. I'm in them, but I love them. Like so I totally get why you do what you do.
Does that like from sort of like being in movies as well? Does it change your perception of how like you watch movies, or is that
No, I mean I feel like the more that I've actively made my own, like produced and stuff, I more like purposefully watch more documentaries than usual.
Right. Okay.
But I mean, a typical new movie night here is anything from like 80s, 90s TV movie to like, seeking out like, like you said, like B movies, like, because that's the kind of stuff that kind of helps to filter the extremes of life a little bit.
Yeah.
So it depends, like, and I feel like, yeah, like, I like that mashup of the Sleeping with the Enemy. I know it wasn't necessarily like your origins idea, but I just love that idea because it's both of those films are campy, but one is accepted more because the actress is more well regarded.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I love Scream, is because like everyone agrees that Neve Campbell was a great actress in that. And I feel like almost all of these horror films, the actresses and the actors do amazing work.
Yeah.
But there's a certain framing,
Well, I mean, because Scream as well. That was the opening for like big TV stars like Courtney Cox and becoming in serious actors at the time, being in horror films, which I think before leaving, especially sort of like the first half of the 90s, it was pretty much looked down upon, wasn't it? So that was why you were getting like, and then after Scream as well, there was a slew of like really, really huge teen actors being in horror. But I think that was the reason for some of them getting very toned down as well. So that was it was a trend for a bit that was kind of good, and was a little bit of a detriment to it as well.
But then people like you are part of this tradition of making those involved in horror films immortal. Like you like, it's a game of telephone. It's like, what is the impact? And like, people may look at your art and they may see a movie they've never heard of, and then they're like, basket case sounds interesting, I should look that up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's just one of those genres where it's because like art has always been attached.
Yeah.
Because of the classic movie posters, and like the heyday of horror has always come from the time of the heyday of movie posters as well. I think starting right from the Universal monsters, like from all those classic posters right from the 80s as well, and obviously it became a bit of a lost art. Sort of late 90s, but has kind of got a bit of a resurgence again now. So with a lot of reissues on Blu-ray, and a lot of people are, just influenced by old school horror anyway, so they want that old school aesthetic. So, that's why they always want to go with that sort of classic style of movie posters. And like the two posters for the Nukem High are done by both of my like all-time favorite artists as well, Graham Humphreys and Rick Melton. So, so that must have been pretty cool to be illustrated by both of them, to be honest. Yeah.
I feel very lucky and spoiled because I feel like I've been illustrated so much of my life. My mom is an artist. She's a great painter. And to have those different versions of you. I do love how every artist captures my resting bitch face, just like perfectly. Like and I feel like it was such a little victory. Maybe you didn't even realize it, but when I sent you my stuff and I was like, I'm sending you like references of me, but like make it smiley, because like that's more me. But like I guess I must be known for being such a hard ass, and I'm just so used to like the Shadow Scarf poster that Richard Smykowski did of me. I'm like, arrows point. I'm like, so it's like I never get to show that side of me. So you the horror guy is like making me like happy-go-lucky.
Well, I thought with it being sort of like the format of the channel, with it being it needed to look kind of inviting as well. Instead of like it looking kind of like actress after, it was kind of it's you, isn't it? So that was why I picked that. I think because you sent me some of your like a lot of like professional shots, and then I think the one I used was actually just a screenshot from just one of your actual videos, and I just thought that'll work great. So
that's great because I've done so many photo shoots over the years, but some photo shoots I never get back images of me smiling. And people think that I must like only just be like this. I'm like, I don't know. People must really enjoy me not smiling. I don't know what to tell you. I do commercial shoots a lot, but I don't always get back a gallery of images that I feel like sharing. But yeah, no, it's interesting. So you've done a lot of like conventions. Have you had any like standout experiences from conventions you want to share?
Going back to Scream, actually, I did a horror convention in Edinburgh.
Yeah.
The first time I'd actually went to Edinburgh, it's like a really nice place. And Matthew Lillard was one of the guests at there. And yeah, I got to meet him a couple of times. He did there was a screening of Scream as well, which he Q&A'd beforehand. But people kept buying. I did like a print, like a screen print. It was just like a huge like picture of Drew Barrymore with like the Scream mask in the back, like kind of, yeah. And lots of people bought that off me and then got that signed by him, which I thought that was actually really cool. So
That's he's really
and then I actually went to give him one, to actually brought one over to give him, and he said that he'd been seeing them all day and stuff like that, and so that was pretty cool. Yeah, he was a really nice guy. I'm trying to think of a few more.
met Barbara Crampton, right?
Yeah, she was really cool. I've met her a couple of times. Yeah, and Jeffrey Combs as well was at the same convention. So as a big Reanimator fan, that was I got to meet Dario Argento last year. That was a big deal. Trying to think. Yeah, I've done a fair few, and you sometimes get to if you actually work in the conventions instead of just going to them as a fan, you do get to sometimes just see a lot of them hang out, and you sometimes just get chance to actually have more conversations with them than you would just as as an actual fan walking around. So that's really cool. Yeah, it's funny. It's kind of it feels like work because you kind of doing it all weekend, but it's still really fun as well. And I'm always happy if one person would buy a piece of my art, never mind I don't know,
A bunch.
30, 40, yeah. So it does. It's quite a nice feeling, yeah.
Yeah, and hopefully that can come back to normal. I mean, obviously, there's more virtual conventions and things like that now, so it kind of takes away the feeling of merch. But you do have an Etsy store, so that's cool, and you sell some posters and you do commissions and stuff. And
people seem to be buying quite a lot during lockdown, which I'm surprised about. A lot more than pre. So I was actually surprised because I think a lot of people were trying to save money and stuff, but yeah. So
I think maybe people are the world is ending, and I might as well enjoy things while I don't know. I know that for me, I've talked with you, it's more important for me to put my money towards either supporting organizations that help everyone, artists. And usually those overlap because at the end of the day, oh man, our culture, we need to make sure that all the artists are still doing their thing and that they're still thriving because, so maybe that's why people are you know what, I like his art. I should just buy it. Because I want to make sure that that guy has the best ramen available.
Well, yeah, it's much appreciated. But yeah, the conventions, we had a few lined up for the past few months, which have been cancelled, which sucks. But hopefully next year it'll be all all back up and running, back to normal. I don't know how it's going to work. Are you going to have a 2 meter apart photo with you? I don't know, but it might just be the new norm.
You should design masks.
Yeah, maybe.
We started selling merch. We have a deal with Richard Smykowski, who did the art for our 2 short films. Yeah. And we started selling some merch on there, and they let you pick the merch that you'd like with the design on it. And it asked us if we wanted to sell our design on masks. I just felt it was not tasteful for our particular thing, but people are buying fashion masks, and I mean, it's going to be a normal thing. So maybe there can be I'm just putting it out there, Gareth. I would buy a cartoon Leatherface mask.
Like bottom half, like
Like
yeah.
bottom half of Leatherface. I would buy that. So if you made that,
Well,
I'm just putting it out there. You could
mm,
do that. You could do the
yeah,
little cartoon face. I mean,
yeah.
it would have to be a bottom half of a recognizable character, but I feel like Leatherface, you probably figure it
I
out.
think with the teeth and
Yeah.
the off center mouth, yeah, that would, yeah, yeah, that's an idea.
That
Yeah.
might be the future of conventions, like sign my mask. I don't know.
I, I think it just might be the new normal, just in general. I mean, I got the train for the first time a couple of days ago. It was just, I mean, I don't know what it's like over there now, but well, obviously masks are encouraged. I mean, sorry, it's mandatory now if you're getting on the train, and it's just strange. Everyone's there's no life to anyone. Like there's it's really it's
Yeah,
kind of eerie a little bit as well. Like no one's like your personality is kind of just completely gone because all you can see is just your eyes. So yeah, it's going to take a little while to adapt to once I when I need to like go back to getting the train every day. So
it is weird. It's not really it's not really enforced here. So we're noticing
yeah,
less and less people, which is kind of worrisome because it's like the one thing we can do to prevent it getting any worse. Uh,
yeah.
but I have been doing this thing because like you may have done this, but when you wear your mask, like even if you thought your breath was okay, you're like, God, my breath. So I started doing this thing where I put like a couple drops of peppermint oil in the mask.
All
And
right,
then I'm
okay.
just like walking and smelling like minty fresh air. And so it's
That's
like,
not a bad idea. I was
yeah,
just really hot. Like it was just so like you just realize how hot it is. Like it was yeah, I felt really strange wearing it, but it's just something you're gonna also have to get used to. So um,
more intentional. Everything has to mean more now.
yeah, absolutely. But yeah, it's just that's kind of going to be the new norm, I think. So, but I don't. It's not enforced like to walk around the street. But I think if you just get in the transport like trains, buses,
Yeah.
yeah, you're meant to wear them now. So, but yeah, it's the first time since March that I've actually had to be on a train. So like, yeah, so it was very strange.
On that note, I wanted to ask you the question I ask all my guests, which is, what kind of message would you like to send out to the universe today if you had to send out some sort of statement?
um, I think, especially with what's been going on and people being in lockdown, I think people should make a bit more time to reflect. Like, just either, where you want to go or where you're at right now or what you want to change. I need to take that advice myself a little bit sometimes. Like, I'm always sometimes concentrating on, I want to do, this is where I want to be one day, but maybe sometimes should have a bit of reflection of like, well, you've done this and this as well. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, that maybe just a bit of, or if there's things that you want to change, I think like this has kind of been a good chance to do that really. While you've been kind of, a lot more. We've never been in that situation where we have had so much time on our hands. So, especially me, I work, come home, work the only time like I have to watch films, and I've never normally had that time to kind of sit and recess things like and think about stuff. So yeah,
Yeah,
I'd
that's
say yeah, take a bit of time to reflect.
that is that is also just the theme of the next few months, because the next few months are, I don't know if you're aware, but it's this eclipse season, and it's like a time where a lot of different planets are like going in retrograde. So like people feel frustrated when they're trying to move forward. Like you
Yeah,
see when people are working really hard to get changes done and they're
yeah,
feeling like getting a pushback. It's because right now, like you said, it's a time for us to reflect, because if we reflect, that's the only way to move forward. Because if we see what needs to be done and really assess it, so yeah, that's you're right on theme with what's going
yeah,
on, and you're right in the right mindset. And yeah, there's so many movies to watch too.
yeah.
You gotta catch up. Oh God, I hadn't watched Phantasm 2 these years, and now I'm like catching up. And
Yeah. Oh, it's a great movie. I feel like I'm gonna have to watch that one again as well because I've not seen that for a long time. So yeah.
The one of the leads in that, James LeGros, he is in a lot of Glass Eye Pix related projects, including the Tales Beyond the Pale series, which one I get
Wow.
McQuaid is in. So like he's a regular on that. And when I saw Phantasm 2, I was like, James is in this? Oh my gosh! Like, so
Is that the dude that was in Drugstore Cowboy as well? Is that him?
I think so.
He's in Point Break as well, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's great, but like I love rediscovering discovering performances from people earlier in their career before I like even knew how awesome they were. So,
Yeah.
definitely.
Apparently Brad Pitt was turned down for that role, and for him to use, yeah. So.
Well, it was great having you on. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me.
Of course.
Make a bit more time to reflect.